Chat, we are so back. I am here on time. Well, on time is subjective. I was supposed to start at 3, and then I got home late from work, and I still had to set up the tier list and stuff. Like I still had to put everything in for today. I was like, shoot, okay, 3:30. So I adjusted the time to 3:30, and then I finished a lot. Like I got all of this done a lot quicker than I thought I was going to, and I was like, okay, fine, 3:15. So we're here. What's up, Scorpion Flytrap? I see you. No one else here? No, it's okay. They'll funnel in. They'll funnel in. It's always slow at the start. So today, as I'm sure you know from the title, I'm going to be doing another round of essentially Should Christians Watch in the live format, because it was ever so popular last time in both the VOD and the highlight. So this stream will be the same way. We have some honorable exclusions from last time, such as Dragon Ball, as well as some very highly requested ones, such as Witch Hat Atelier and Daemons of the Shadow Realm. So we kind of get a good mix of like stuff that was just left off of the last one, because it was just, oh, here's the top 100 anime of all time, and obviously that wasn't accounting for some of like the newer stuff that's come out since that list was made, as well as like, oh, here's some of the newer stuff like that was airing this year, like Sentenced to be a Hero is on here, Witch Hat and Daemons as previously mentioned. So lots of good stuff. So I'm very excited about this one. I like this one. I'm also excited about the tier list I'm doing next weekend, assuming that nothing bad happens between now and then, of re-ranking all my romance anime. I'm very excited about that. So I will also say, excuse me, that in fitting with, I totally lost my train of thought. It's been one of those weeks. What I was going to say is, as of now, like going forward, live streams, when they're live, will not have ads on them. Because I was previously just setting it to like low to just run like the bare minimum amount of ads on the live. But what I think I'm going to do is just set the VODs to be monetized. The streams are not, aside from like any super chats that were to come in or anything like that. Mainly because I was watching a friend's stream on Twitch a couple weeks ago. It was during like all the big game press events and stuff. I think it was the Xbox Showcase. I was trying to watch his stream and his coverage of, of the event. And it was really frustrating because all of the good, like I missed the Persona 6 reveal because an ad popped up. And like that's not his fault. That's on Twitch. Like I don't blame him for that in any way, shape, or form. But it was like annoying. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's kind of annoying. So at least on YouTube, I can't control what happens on Twix or Twitch. We should just call it TwooTube, because then you have Twix, Twitch, and TwooTube. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just playing. So yeah, no ads on the YouTube live stream, but if you're watching on the VOD, you're on your own. So you know what I am gonna do while I wait for people to show up. Let me see if I can hook this up properly. I don't think I can. No. Well, you know what? I'm going to say forget we ball. Also, the Maldives 123. Hi, I see you. Welcome. Is this going to work? Oh, it is. Okay, baller. I need to record a little intro highlight bit for the highlight. So I'll do that real quick. Oh, I got to turn the music off. Hold on. Bop. Okay, sorry, you guys have no music for like 5 seconds while I do this. Don't worry, I'll be quick. You guys used to watch me record something live. So if you're watching the highlight, this is where it all happens. We're just doing it live. We're doing it live today. Okay? How do I want to do it this time? I'm trying to think. How did I do it last time? It was like, should Christians watch anime? A question I get all the time, so I took it upon myself to rank all of them on a tier list. But this is part 2. So I'm just going to wing it. We're just going to go crazy, all right? As usual. Let me take a sip of water. I'm still on vocal mend. Okay, here we go. Should Christians watch anime? This is a question I get all of the time, and I actually already did one tier list about that, but due to the overwhelming popularity and just some anime we're missing, I decided to do it again, so here are the highlights. That was good. I think I'm going to do it one more time just to be safe. You can never be too safe in this business. Should Christians watch anime? This is a question I get all of the time, and honestly, it's kind of hard to navigate this space and figure out what you should even watch in the first place. So after the overwhelming popularity of my last tier list, I'm here to do it again. So here are the highlights of round 2. There we go. Baller. We are so back. One of those will work. All right, music back on. Back to the tier list. Is Haikyuu on this list? No. So here's what I want to say. I am actually going to get rid of Never Seen because I've seen everything on this list. Because, and I saw this in the comments when I asked people for their thoughts on like what shows I should and shouldn't put on here. Also, if you guys can let me know if the music sounds good, that'd be great. Because I want to make sure the music isn't overpowering before we get to the part that's actually going to get highlighted out. So what I decided in putting this together was I did not want to put shows I hadn't seen on here because someone suggested like, oh, you should put shows you haven't seen and let chat help you rank them. And the problem is with that is, and I say this in the nicest way possible, I'm not trying to offend anybody in chat. I love all of you that are here and everyone who's going to watch this after the fact. What ends up happening is how I feel about Oshinoko may not be the same as how someone else feels about Oshinoko. Things that bother me about Goblin Slayer may not bother someone else about Goblin Slayer. And I think when you put a tier list like this together and I'm having to go based off of what the chat says when I can't personally vet that because I haven't seen the show, I feel like that lowers the quality of the tier list because at the very least I can come back to it and say, well, this is my recommendation. This is where I would firmly put all of these shows. And I know there were a couple on the last tier list where it was like, chat, help me out on this one. Was Quintessential Quintuplets, was the fan service that bad? Like, chat can help with that kind of stuff. And I think that's fine. But at the very least, I've seen that show. You know what I mean? So it's one of those, like, I just want to make sure that I've seen everything. So if I give it a recommendation, I can, like if I put something in Sainthood, I want to be able to look back and say, yeah, I've seen that, and I can wholeheartedly recommend it to you. So that's the reason there's no shows on here that I haven't seen, because I just felt like that was lowering the quality of the tier list in doing it that way. So that is that's what we're doing. So, and at some point I will do another tier list that's like ranking all of the anime I've seen, but that's more of like a personal ranking, not based on like should you or should you not watch this. So that's it. I think it's time to get started. Shout out to everyone in the chat. EXT Dig, I see you here. Alex at OC18, first time chatting. Welcome, welcome. I hope you enjoy. Oh, dude, you guys gotta come up with some easier names to read. Apcabro AKB, hello, welcome. Lockok123, welcome back. I've seen you around here before. And, dude, hold on. I'm just gonna say not to nail. Welcome. Hopefully I said all of that right. We're gonna hope for the best. So, as just to fill everybody in case you weren't here for the last tier list, we'll go through this real quick. All of the different tiers presented today are Sainthood, definitely okay, okay, but with an asterisk, probably should avoid, and Spawn of Satan. Now, what do all of those things mean? Let's break it down. Sainthood is a show that I can wholly recommend with no caveats, nothing, like, that's it. So that's it. Like, Sainthood, perfect show, incredible. You should watch it. Definitely okay is one that may have a couple hiccups here and there, and maybe there's like one or two things that are slightly holding it back from being in Sainthood, but it's nothing like too crazy. Okay, but with an asterisk is, I'm thinking, what did we put in that tier last time? I think My Hero was in there, One Piece was in there, and those were flagged for like fan service. Stuff like that where it's like, I think it's okay. Like, I think overall My Hero is okay. Overall One Piece is okay, but there is that fan service. Like, there is that one element that's a little bigger, like fan service, violence, gore, bigger things that like certain people may struggle with and may have an issue with that are worth pointing out and worth noting. So that's okay, but with an asterisk. Probably should avoid is kind of the inverse of that, where it's like, there's a couple good things here and there where I'm like, yeah, I mean, it's all right. Like, it might be okay if you got nothing else to watch, but I probably wouldn't watch it. Can't recommend it. And then Spawn of Satan is like opposite of Sainthood. It is just evil. Like, don't touch it with a 10-foot pole. Don't watch it. Don't consume it. Nothing. No. I'm not sure. Looking over what we have here today, I think there's only 60 in here this time. I'm not sure if we have any Spawn of Satan today, but we shall see as the tier list goes on. So, dude, I'm going to fly through this water. I got to drink so much more water now. Okay, so, kicking things off today. The last one was such a banger. I look forward to the stream. I'm glad you enjoyed it. A lot of people did. That's one of my more popular tier lists, and I think it's like such an interesting concept. So, yeah. Kicking us off, the dangers in my heart. What do we got? Dangers in my heart, dude. Okay, so again, much like last time, I have to set aside my my personal feelings about how I feel about the show. Because I might, like I said, there are things that don't bother me that might bother other people, and that's not what this is. So, dangers in my heart, I think, based on what I remember, I think I'm going to give it okay, but with an asterisk, because if I remember what I saw and how the show plays out, there's a little fan service in it, and I think some of the topics might skirt the line. So I'll put it in okay, but with an asterisk, just because I'm like, I don't want to put it in definitely okay, and then someone watch it and be like, oh my gosh, there was a beach episode and it was really fan servicey and you recommended it. I'm like, okay, so we're gonna go with okay, but with an asterisk. It's one of my favorite romance anime. It's up there. I think it's in like top 10 at the very least. Which is another thing. I have a whole top 10 shorts. Or top 10 romance anime short series, like going over each one like I did for my top 10 anime. It's recorded. I recorded it in January. It's done. I just haven't edited them. So I'm going to sit down and do that soon-ish. Melly JK, what's up? I see you. So, Okay, so I'm going to put that there. Goblin Slayer. See, I did a whole video on Goblin Slayer. And I will reiterate and summarize what I said in that video. Is my problem with Goblin Slayer is Goblin Slayer, it has that one episode at the beginning, and it's not even the whole episode. It's just like a part of the first episode where it's really graphically intense and it's very like heavy on the sexual assault, and that's meant to showcase the goblins as being this like ontological evil that should be eradicated. We don't feel for them, we don't relate to them, like kind of in the same vein as the demons from Freeman, right? But my problem is that's never brought up again. And I'm not saying that because I want it to be brought up again. I'm saying that because you can't justify it if you never do it again. You know what I mean? Like, it was done for the sake of shock value. It was done for the sake of having something crazy, you know, like something crazy to put in the first episode or the first chapter, and like, oh, you know, there's this crazy thing that's happening. But they never go anywhere interesting with that subplot either. It's like, yeah, priestess witnessed that and people died, so now we're gonna kill goblin. The most they do with it is like the grand priestess or whatever her name is, I don't even remember, she was assaulted by goblins, which is used to explain why she wants them all eradicated, and like she's a survivor of that. But I don't think it makes any interesting commentary on that. Like, it doesn't use it for anything beneficial. It's just kind of like, yeah, the goblins are evil because they sexually assault women. All right, pack it up. We're good. So I'm gonna put it in probably should avoid, which sucks because outside of that, I think it's actually a really decent fantasy anime. I think it has really good world building. It's very much just D&D the anime, and they reference as much in their terms. So like it is kind of neat. It's like a decent fantasy anime. But if you want to watch fantasy, I mean, there's so many better fantasy anime to watch. So the main cast does get assaulted by goblins later on. That is true. I forgot about that. But it's nowhere near as bad as like the first episode. Like, that's what I'm saying. Is like you go to this extreme in the first episode and then you never push the extreme again. Like, it's a one and done thing. So you could remove that scene from the first episode, and I don't think you would lose anything of significance from Goblin Slayer. There's other ways to do that, and I talked about that in the video. There's other ways to get that information across. You don't even have to show anything. I think it would be more powerful if you just implied and showed in other ways. Like, oh, yeah, there's tattered clothes on the ground, and, you know, the women are dead. Like, you don't have to actually show them getting assaulted to get that same point across. We're all already on board with you that they need to go. So that's what I'm saying. Is like, it's interesting that extreme was never pushed again. And it doesn't even, like, make an attempt to justify it other than goblins bad. This is what they do. It's like, okay, that's cool. So, next up is Windbreaker. For context, I've only seen the first season. I have not seen the second season. I saw all of the debacle with them introducing a transgender character, and I didn't really care to continue it at that point. So I can't speak on any of that. So my recommendation here on where this goes would be purely on season 1, of which I did an entire video on as well. And I would say just on season 1, not season 2, just on season 1. Okay. I think Windbreaker goes in definitely okay. Because I was sufficiently impressed with the first season, and I really liked how they... What did I say in the video? It was like how they brought their community together, how they were all about protecting the community, staying involved, and really living out that, like, Christian lifestyle of taking care of your community and learning not to pick a fight for no reason. Like, you shouldn't just go in guns blazing like, oh, I'm gonna beat you up for no reason. like there should be some justification behind why you fight, whether you're fighting for someone else or you're fighting for justice or something like that. I think that was a good way to put that. Good way to bring that around. And I appreciated that. I liked the characters. I thought the characters were good. And the fighting isn't like abhorrently violent. Like, it's a bunch of high school dudes beating each other up. But like, it's not Attack on Titan levels of gore. You know what I'm saying? So I think Windbreaker Season 1 is definitely okay. Like I said, I haven't seen Season 2, so I can't put a blanket recommendation on that. Just going to leave my water right here so I don't have to reach as far. Next up is Comey Can't Communicate. I would put that... I would put that in okay, but with an asterisk, because I think there's some stuff in there. Like one of the girls is like obviously into Comey, but I think it's played up more as a joke than anything else. Like it's meant to be funny because it's just like the Japanese style of humor. And I don't recall the fan service being that bad, but I also can't remember a ton of it. So I'm like, I don't know. So I'm just going to leave it in okay, but with an asterisk, because I don't think it's avoidable that bad, but I do think it's all right. Okay. More Than a Married Couple, but Not Lovers. Okay. Chat, you got to hear me out on this. I'm really torn on where to put it, because the plot is good. The story is good. I like the like the premise is very interesting, but also from a Christian perspective, maybe premarital, how do I want to word this? Premarital cohabitation is not the wisest of ideas. And there's a lot of fan service. So I think this one's going to have to go and probably should avoid, maybe more so than Goblin Slayer. As much as I love the plot, and I do think the characters have good development, and I think it's overall a really good romance story. It's up there in my... Is it in my top 10? Let me actually... Hold on. Let me fact check this. I think it might be in my top 10. Mainly because some of that stuff doesn't... Like, I'm like, oh, it's... You know, it's just... It's anime shenanigans. Like, I'm not super bothered by that. But I know, like, from a recommendation standpoint... Where the heck is my romance list? Why can't I not find it? There it is. More Than a Married Couple is number 8 on my list, and Dangers in My Heart is number 10. How interesting. That's crazy. Premarital sex, no. No. There is no none of that. None of that. So in that sense, it's better than Love is War. But there is a lot of fan service. There's some, I think, what the ratings board would call suggestive themes. See, that's the thing. I love it because I love the plot, and I love the story and the romantic development. But from a recommendation standpoint, especially as a Christian, I'm like, it's definitely not for everyone. You know what I'm saying? Okay, hold on. I am not in love with how my camera looks, so I'm gonna hit the BRB and adjust my camera real quick, and I will be right back. We are so back. I just needed to tweak the camera because I was not like, I felt like when I was leaning this way, I was kind of getting off screen, and I was like, I needed a little more space because you guys know I talk with my hands. So. All right, I see you, Oshinoko, and probably should avoid because of the vengeance plot and the incest. Here's the thing. I actually just finished Oshinoko season 3 last week. And the incest plot doesn't really kick in until the end of season 3, like the last episode. So if you even wanted to make an exception, right? Like if you wanted to make a case for okay, but with an asterisk, because that plot doesn't kick in for so long, and there's 35 other episodes that don't have that. So you could make a case there. Do I know what happens in the end? No. I haven't read the manga. Actually, I have a vague idea of what happened. Like I know what happens to Aqua and like that kind of stuff, but I don't know specifics because I think I'm just gonna read it. I was gonna wait for the anime, but I'm like, I should just read it because I hear everybody talk about this terrible ending, and maybe Aka Akasaka is washed. Who's to say? So I don't know the specifics. And I also know the loophole in the series is like, well, it's not incest because they're reincarnated and they weren't related when they were reincarnated. But then it's like you got to make the argument of like, yeah, but he was an adult, she was a child. Like, I don't. It's not looking good for you either way. So, which sucks because I love Oshinoko, but I think as I was watching season 3, I started to feel like it was losing the aspects of it that I really did like. Like I like that kind of more realistic dive or like a darker look at the entertainment industry and the things that people in that industry, especially in Japan, go through. I loved the arc in season 2 where they were doing the stuff with the manga adaptation to the stage play and like how much oversight there is from the like the production committee and the original creator and what they authorize and go. Like I really liked that. I really liked the first season diving into like, well, here's what happened to Ai and here's why that happened and here's like the ins and outs of the idol industry. And I feel like every season kind of focuses on a different aspect. Like season 1 was very idol heavy, where season 2 was very much like stage play adaptation heavy, and then season 3 feels more like film and TV heavy as we're building to the 4th season, which is the final season, which I presume will be more like film heavy. So I like that critique of the industry, and there's a lot of good points made, and I think Aqua as a character says a lot about what happens. It's more of a cautionary tale of like, here's what happens when you let vengeance consume your life, when you let vengeance become the thing that drives you every day, when you wake up looking for vengeance. It's a cautionary tale because you look at how, one, he's wasting his second chance at life by spending it like consumed by vengeance, but you also see how that affects the other people in Aqua's life, like Ruby, Kana, and Akane. Like he can never form genuine relationships with Kana or Akane, and he ends up driving his sister down the same path too by being a bad example. So I think you can look at Aqua as a cautionary tale. I also look at like Ai choosing to keep her kids in an industry that almost penalizes you for finding out that you have kids. Like the idol industry really pushes back against that, and it's very like counterintuitive, and I think you could apply that to the modern narrative of like, well, kids kill your career, like kids hurt your career, so you should just not have it, like just get rid of them, it's easier that way. And I think her producer or manager says something along those lines in the first episode, and she's like, no, I want to keep them. Like, these kids are a blessing. So, like, you can look at the pro-life narrative there. But all that said, I think it's such a toss-up because I truly don't feel like it's probably should avoid, but I also, like, am hesitant to put it in okay, but with an asterisk. Because I think it also talks about the dangers of doom scrolling online in that episode in season 1 with Akane, right? Like, the dangers of becoming consumed with social media and other people's perception of you and what that does to your mental state, which we see a lot in the modern age, right? Like, people getting canceled over things they didn't do, like that kind of stuff. So, gosh. I don't know. This one is, like, such a toss-up. I think I'm going to put it in okay, but with an asterisk, because the only thing that I think would have held it back is like the incest stuff, but that doesn't come in until so much later, and there's so much more of it that, like, there's so much more to it. So you know what, I am gonna do a poll. I like that idea. I'm gonna pull this up and I will do a poll, and you guys can decide. Even though I think that's where it should go, I'll do a poll and we'll see what happens. All right, I gotta go on the YouTube back end for this. Start a poll. Where should Oshinoko? Ooh, I spelled it wrong. Go. You say okay, but with an asterisk. Probably should avoid. I need to start using polls more. Okay. All right, the poll is out there. I will come back and reevaluate that after we do the next one. So I'll give it like a little bit to simmer there. All right. Oh no. Did we lose music? Hold on. Hold on. Where'd my music go? Did we... OBS, what'd you do? OBS, why are you breaking on me? Where is it? That's not the right one. Hold on. That should be the right one. Why can I not... Did we not? No, we had music the whole time. I'm not crazy. I'm not crazy here. Hold on. What if I go... Okay, well, I fixed it on the BRB. I don't know why. I wonder if it's maybe because my main window isn't Okay, hold on. Let me try something. Okay, so now it's working. So it definitely was like, I guess, mad that the audio wasn't coming through Chrome, even though it was working before just fine. I don't know what that was all about. Okay, how's the audio levels on that? It should be exactly the same. But let me know if that's too overpowering. How's our poll looking here? Oh, dude, I need somebody to be a tiebreaker. I need someone to be a tiebreaker on the poll because it's 50-50 split right now. I need someone to be a tiebreaker here. Okay. Okay. Let me. I gotta pull stuff up. I need to get a better system for doing streaming. But it's okay. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. You know what I'm saying? Okay. So we are gonna move on to the next one while I wait for the Oshinoko poll. I'm gonna leave it in okay for now because I'll be the tiebreaker if I have to be. Romantic Killer, definitely okay. More so than Windbreaker, unless I can't think of anything I would be forgetting in terms of content. I think Romantic Killer is actually a really, all things considered, clean romance anime. It's very underrated because it's a Netflix exclusive and I never see anyone talk about it. It's low-key, like, actually kind of good. And I wish more people talked about it and appreciated it for what it is. So that's another romance and definitely okay for all my fellow romance enjoyers out there. I know who you are. I know you guys exist. Another one that I would put in definitely okay is A Sign of Affection. Yeah? Yeah, there's nothing bad in that one. That one's another like, oh, that's just pure wholesome. That's pure diabetes, pure like wholesome overload. I love that. So I would recommend A Sign of Affection. I can't think of anything that was in that was bad. So I will leave that. My Happy Marriage, despite my feelings about it and thinking that it struggles a little bit in the latter half, I feel like it peaks around episode, what is it, 6 or 7? I think it's a good show. I wouldn't slight that against it. So I'll put it in definitely okay. So a lot of romance and definitely okay. I actually have a pretty good filter on like romance that I think is good. And when I do my romance tier list next, in the next stream, my romance taste has definitely changed in the last 2 years. Oh, Domestic Girlfriend. We did have a Spawn of Satan today, chat. We sure did. Don't watch Domestic Girlfriend. Don't even watch it ironically. Like that's how I watched it. Way back in ye olden days of 2020, I think. Me and one of my friends, we watched it together, and it was just bad. We still joke about it to this day. Like, we binged all of it in 2 days, and it's just bad, and it's just don't watch it. It's not good. So it's not. It's like. It's one of those, it's so bad it's funny, but I can't recommend it at all. Like, I really can't. It's just disgusting. And if you don't know the premise, save yourself the pain. Don't look it up. Don't worry about it. It's not worth watching. That's how I feel about that. My Hero Academia Vigilantes. Okay. So, again, this is another one I've only seen the first season of, but I've heard the second season is pretty good as well. And this might be a controversial opinion, I think Vigilantes is indefinitely okay because the fan service is reduced significantly compared to the main series. Now, granted, that has a lot to do with the setting and the cast as opposed to like what the main series is. But it really, like, The only character you have to worry about fan service wise is Pop Step, but I think the anime made a couple good changes to kind of tweak her outfit so it's not as revealing as it is in the original manga, which is like everyone, cries censorship, like, oh, censorship is so bad, don't do that, blah 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 blah. But then there are cases like that where I'm like, no, I think that kind of censorship is okay. Like, I wouldn't even call that censorship, I would just call that adaptation, creative decisions. Like, censorship is when you're actively blocking something. That was just a creative decision made by the staff, probably to make sure the anime stays under a certain rating level, like, because they want it to hit that same rating demographic as the main series. So I do think Vigilantes is indefinitely okay, which is crazy that it's higher than the original. But like I said, the fan service is toned way down. If you haven't watched Vigilantes, actually, I highly recommend it. I think it's a incredible series. At least the first season that I've seen is really good. And I've heard it goes in a lot of interesting places and really explores some interesting concepts in the My Hero world, as well as fleshing out what Horikoshi has made, and in a natural way, without feeling like it's tacked on for no reason. So I'm going to move it a little higher up. I do strongly recommend Vigilante. I'm going to put it at the top. I recommend it more than the other ones in this tier list. Let's check in on our poll. How's the poll doing? Still 50-50. I need someone to be the tiebreaker, if you don't mind. I noticed that High School DxD wasn't on here. Yeah, because I've never seen it. I didn't watch it in my early days of watching anime, and then by the time I would have gotten around to it, I was like so adverse to that kind of content. I'm like, eh. Cause like there's fan service in a series like One Piece where it's like, oh yeah, boob joke, ha 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 ha, very funny. Get back to the fight. And then there's High School DxD, which is like obnoxious and like degenerate. Like those two levels of fan service are not the same. There's stuff like in One Piece and My Hero, I can kind of hand wave of like the, oh, haha, boob joke, butt joke. Okay, moving on. Like, oh, teenage, high school boy, think boob pretty. Wow, crazy. Anyway, get back to the fight. Like, whereas, like I said, High School DxD is very like, whoa, Ford Model T horn, auga. That's not me. That's not my, that's not my scene. I'm like, no. I will never watch High School DxD. Like, I don't want to say never, because you never know, but like, I will never go out of my way to watch it. I will never intentionally watch it. Popped in at an odd moment. It's a great out of context moment. I'm gonna do like a out of context moment, a highlight reel at the beginning, and that's gonna be in there. That was good. Recheck poll. Okay. Oh, baller. Okay, but with an asterisk. Thank you guys for breaking the tie. We are ending the poll. Bada bing, bada boom. Where should Oshinoko go? That rhymes. No ko go. Okay, but with an asterisk. So it stays where it's at. Put High School DxD in Sainthood. That'll be my like magnum opus video, is like why High School DxD is actually secretly a Christian anime or something. Like, and do the most like gonna like do the most like mental gymnastics to get to the point of like, well, if you look at the school, actually she's wearing a cross necklace, which implies like, that would be a crazy video. That would be crazier than what was the video? Hold on. What was the video that that I don't want to, I would definitely dox myself if I had that open. Not Christina Aguilera. I spelled that wrong. Hey, wait a minute. Chat. What's going on here? Why are there two of these? Why are there two of these? Is this... Can anyone confirm? Is this legit? Is this actually him? Or is this like somebody posing as him? Can anybody confirm? Because that doesn't look like his... Like, he doesn't do the black borders around his thing. You know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm saying? Am I going crazy here, chat? Like look. Let's compare and contrast here. See how, like, when you look at his video, let me see if I can find like a direct comparison. Cuz he did a video on, or maybe he took those videos down. Hold on. Did we just discover something that we shouldn't have? Like, you see how when you look at his videos, he doesn't have like a black border, or no, I guess he does. Cuz that's the same black border. That's so interesting. Did he take down? No, because he's still got like some of the... This is a Christian anime. So it's not like he took them down and is reposting them. But there are definitely some videos missing, I will tell you that. Because he used to do the paper like esque background. And then I guess at some point, I self-admittedly, I have not watched any of his later videos. I've just been really busy, and I haven't gotten into it. Like, I think that was the last one I watched, was the false rapture guy. I've been meaning to watch the Christian conservatives one though, because that's a... I can already tell you that's going to be a banger. Maybe I'll send him a DM after the stream, and ask if this is him or if this is a LARPer. So you're gonna tell Podcast On I hate him? In my defense, I haven't seen him post anything in like 2 months. I didn't even know he was still alive. Like, obviously I knew that. I'm just playing. But like, he hasn't posted anything in a while. That's why I'm like, is this him? Like, for real? I totally forgot what I was coming to his channel. Oh, I remember. It was a members only video. Oh, it's gone. No, I know this video exists. I'm not capping. I know this video exists. Hold on. He did a video on Aramanga Sensei. That's what I was coming here for. I was trying to be like, oh, me doing a video on me doing a video on like high school DxD would be the same as him doing the one on Aramanga Sensei. That's what I was doing. That video exists. I'm not going crazy. I know that video exists. So hey, there's me. There I am, Gary. Hey, there's Pierce too. Playing Quiplash on stream is incredibly brave. I don't know if I'd ever trust my audience enough to play Jackbox on stream. Yeah, so, okay, anyway, I was looking for the Aramanga Sensei video. I guess, maybe he's trying to delineate his content, because I noticed he changed from, like he's Podcast Son here, but then he's just Christian Anime Podcast here. You know what? I'm gonna send him a Twitter DM right now before I forget. Otherwise I'm washed. Oh boy! I messaged so many people on Twitter. Why? For what purpose? For what purpose? For why? Oh, wait, never mind. He likes to talk on Discord. Okay, never mind. I'll send him a Discord DM later. And ask about that. Okay, well, that's going to stay open so I don't forget. Hey, there's me. And this isn't biased because I'm on a signed out tab. I'm right there, bro. You better watch out. Better watch out, homie. A devout Christian rates religious anime character fits. Dude, that's actually low-key kind of a baller video idea. There's me again. IP address is still considered, so it is biased. I mean, I guess. Hey, there's me again. Sorry, I need to stop. I'm ego stroking. I need to stop. I need to get back to the tier list. I need to stop. It's not about the analytics. It's about just making good content and hoping that the good analytics come with it. That's what I have to remind myself every day. Though I absolutely love Windbreaker, I'd personally put it on okay with the asterisk for themes it has later on. See, that was the thing, is like Windbreaker is only there because of what I remember about the first season. Not about anything that comes later. Oshinoko spoke of this. Yes, there's a whole episode called Ego Surfing. And why you're not supposed to do it and why it's terrible for your mental health. And I was talking about that as one of the things I really liked about the first season. Yet here I am. I'm not perfect, all right? Anyway, I think we have our first sainthood of the day. Josie, Tiger, and the Fish. Is that the name of the anime? Yes. That's the anime that makes all the feminists on Twitter mad, because they're like, how dare a guy help a disabled girl? How dare a guy be nice for no reason other than to help a woman achieve her goals? Don't you know that's sexist? Never let it... Don't listen to them. Don't listen to them. Josie, Tiger, and the Fish is good. It is a great movie. Thank you, Metroid. So true. It is a great movie. They are... Really? Me when man exist. Yeah, so true. So true. They're just like, men exist? Disgusting. Disgusting. Josie, Tiger, and the Fish is a sainthood. I legitimately have no problems with that one. And I think it's okay to do that. So, Dragon Ball. Okay, so this is the only Dragon Ball I have on here. I'm gonna say that's all encompassing of every Dragon Ball that I've seen, which is gonna be 85% of Z and 65% of Super. So it's like, and Dragon Ball is kind of repetitive, so it's not like there's gonna be any. It's not like there's gonna be any like a big, crazy revelation changes that would change my ranking. I think I'm gonna put it in definitely okay, because I don't think the fan service is near as bad as My Hero, mainly because it's an older show, and also Akira Toriyama was not built that way. So it's good. It's good action. Like it's pretty chill. One of the big like, oh, this is why I work out anime, because Goku's strong, so I need to train. So Dragon Ball's good. Definitely okay. Is Black Clover on here? No, it was on the last one, and it went in never seen. So even if it was on here, it wouldn't be, because I've never seen it. So, Mobile Suit Gundam Iron-Blooded Orphans. Underrated pick, honestly. The only Gundam I put on here because it's the only one I've seen. I never finished Witch from Mercury because I just couldn't get into it past the first half of the first season. So I'm gonna put IBO, Iron-Blooded Orphans. I'm gonna put it in okay, but with an asterisk, but a little higher up, because I think the only thing I had that was questionable was one of the characters. One of the characters was in a polyamorous relationship, I think, but it wasn't one of the main characters. It was like one of the supporting characters. And he had a good reason, in air quotes, for doing it. At least the show tried to justify it as such, and I never felt like it was problematic to me. I think some of the violence might upset people. Overall, I think it's good, though. It's in my top 10 anime. It's the only Gundam I've seen, the only one I care to watch, because I felt like it struck the right balance of mecha and like the interpersonal relationships, which is what I care about. So no, that's good. I'll leave it there. I don't have much more to say about that. Tomo-chan, what is the actual name of that show? Tomo-chan is a girl. That's what it was. I knew it was somewhere in there of like is a girl. It's on the like same vein as like is not just a cutie, so on and so forth. Something. Are we eliminating Tomo-chan on fan service? Was it that bad? I don't remember it being that egregious. I know there was that one character, the blonde character, who's like got a massive chest. But again, I never felt like it was that egregious, unless I'm just misremembering. I mean, I was gonna put it indefinitely okay, but on the bottom end, it wasn't for me. It wasn't my thing. We need to obliterate all journalist sites forever. From Screen Rant, Crunchyroll's new hit Romance is the perfect anime for trans fans. Okay, that's just tomboy erasure. Golly. It's literally in the title. Tomo-chan is a girl. She's not okay. Whatever. Nope. I'm not gonna go down that. I'm not gonna go down that tangent. We're not going down that tangent today. I will not stand for the tomboy erasure. Tomboys are not my thing. Like that's not for me. However, I know there are people out there who that is their thing, so I will not stand for that. I'm going to put Tomo-chan in. Let me think. I'm just trying to cover my bases here. I don't think there was anything bad. You know what? I'm going to put it in top of okay, but with an asterisk, just to be safe. Okay. Okay, My Love Story with Yamada-kun at level 999. Low-key, kind of solid, kind of a banger. I'm not going to lie. But I can't say everything's a banger, because if everything's a banger, then nothing is. I'm going to say Yamada-kun, Yamada, same thing. I mean, I guess technically not. It's tomato. I'm going to say... Let's go with okay, but with an asterisk. I don't think there's anything egregious in there. I think the worst thing is, like, I think she spends the night at his place because she got drunk and he let her sleep in his bed, but he didn't sleep with her. He was, like, playing games at his PC because he's a gamer, bro. So, like, nothing freaky funky happened. But I'll put it in okay, but with an asterisk, just to be safe. To err on the side of caution, as you always should. Suzume is another one. I think Suzume is definitely okay. I don't think Makoto Shinkai has made a movie, at least recently, in his, like, disaster trilogy, that I wouldn't put indefinitely okay, just because they're not egregious. They're pretty clean. They're more plot-focused. There's no fan service. Now, how high up it goes, I think probably closer to Vigilantes, honestly speaking. So leave Suzume there. Indefinitely okay. I need to rewatch it. It's been a while since I've seen it. I do have I have like the super special golden collector's edition steelbook thing in the back, for Weathering with You and Suzume, not Your Name. Your Name's the only one I don't have. So Saint Cecilia and Pastor Lawrence. This one, every time I bring it up, I always get funny looks every time I bring this one up, especially in the recommendation context, because they're like, "Well, how can you recommend it? She's a saint and he's a priest, he's a pastor, but they don't serve the Christian God. So how could you recommend this?" I'm like, I mean, yeah, you're right. Like, I'm not gonna tell you. What are you gonna sit here and tell me that I'm wrong? No, of course not. You're not wrong, but I also think it's a really good. I would argue it's more slice of lifey than romance, even though romance is like the main subplot, or not subplot. Like the main plot is romance, because it's like she has a really big crush on him and he's like completely oblivious, and it's really cute. It's really wholesome. There's no fan service, no funny business, no shenanigans, if you will. So that's a good one. Dare I say it's sainthood. I don't see, because every time I bring it up, they're like, but it's blasphemy because of this, and I'm like, yeah, but it never establishes that it's like trying to mock, like Catholicism or like that kind of stuff. So, or I guess I don't know. With the saints and the priests, it feels more Catholicism based than Protestantism. So I would I'm gonna say definitely okay. Because I know that bothers some people, but I do think it's very clearly based on Catholicism, and it's very much based on like that, and you can tell when you watch it. Is it a 1-to-1? Like, is it actually correct? No, but it never sets out to be that in the first place. So yeah, we're gonna put it there. Give me 1 second, please, before we move on to the next one. There we go. Okay. That takes care of that. Now I just need to do it on... Yes. There we go. Okay. Sorry, guys. We got a bit of a troll in the chat. I had to take care of that real quick. That's done and dusted, as the kids would say. Have I seen Gachiakura? It isn't one on here. I've seen the first half of season 1. The first half of season 1 I've seen, and it's not on here because I never finished season 1. But if we get to the end and you guys want me to add it, I can definitely put it on there. What's up, the Wind Wakest? Welcome. We are, I don't even want to say halfway through. It's been a slow roll. We hit a couple snags. That's okay. So, my dear friend Nokotan, I did not care for this show. I thought the jokes got repetitive about halfway through. So I'm going to say, but I don't think it was egregious. Like, I don't think there was anything bad. I'm going to say okay, but with an asterisk, just because I don't have anything against it, but I don't want to say it's definitely okay. You know what I'm saying? Like, it falls somewhere in the middle there. Tonikawa, I would I would put it like top of definitely okay, if not borderline sainthood. Tonikawa is very clean, very wholesome. They get married in the first, not in the first episode, but like in the first couple episodes, they get married right away. So then any of like the shenanigans of like sleeping together or sharing like cohabitation and all that, like all of that's just, oh, it's chill because they're married, like, so it's okay. So there was no premarital handholding to my remembrance. I may be wrong. Is he a gooner in the manga? That's crazy. Because they definitely toned it down in the anime. But I would say Tonikawa was good. It's not like the greatest romance of all time. But in terms of like content, it's definitely all right. It's definitely okay. Gabriel and the Guardians, that's a free sainthood. Because it's a Christian anime. Like, well, I don't, because it can't be anime. It's a Christian animated series that is anime inspired. Because it wasn't made in Japan, so therefore it can't be an anime. But it is good. That's just based on the first episode that's out. So that's that about that. Did I see the thing going around on the internet a few weeks ago talking about if kissing before marriage is a sin? No, but that... Can I just say, and I'm saying this as a Christian, like, sometimes I think Christians pick the strangest hills to die on. Like, and I'm not advocating for, like, the U.S. to get attacked or anything. But I think there's such a disconnect between American Christians and, like, Christians in the Middle East or in Asia, like, places where they're, actually being persecuted. Whereas, like, American Christians, like, we are so lucky to live in such a peaceful country. Like, and I'm not saying Christians don't get attacked in America, because, like, you see it all the time. Like, barred from barred from different institutions. Like, you can't do this, don't pray for me, like, don't stand outside my abortion clinic, blah, 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 blah. Like, yeah, there is that kind of stuff, but, like, nowhere near to the scale of what's happening in the Middle East or, like, Nigeria, right? But I think American Christians are so soft. If the biggest thing we have to discuss on the daily is whether or not, like, premarital kissing is a sin, like, really? That, like, we're bored. We're bored and we're coddled. And it's like, this is the hill we're going to die on? Like, I understand there should be a level of purity to relationships. I'm absolutely not disagreeing with that. I think there are certain things that, like, obviously, no premarital sex. Like, don't do that. That's a no-no. But I don't think there are... I think sometimes you draw a line in the sand where there doesn't need to be one. But I also think it's so dependent on the individual, and it's so independent on that specific relationship. Because for some people, kissing is no big deal. Hand-holding is no big deal. That's like, that's normal. That's okay. But then for some people, like, if you think that's going to lead you down a path you shouldn't go down, then you're going to set that boundary and you're not going to do it. So I think there are things like kissing and hand-holding that applying a blanket rule to that doesn't necessarily make sense in like the modern context. And I actually did see someone talk about this from a Catholic perspective, of talking about how those rules were put in place back when, like, you courted a woman for like 2 or 3 months and then you just got married. It wasn't this, oh, we're going to date for a year and then engage for a year. And then, the wedding is, a year and a half after the engagement. Like, so now we're 2.5 years. Like, and I'm not saying you shouldn't be able to control yourself, because you should, obviously. But I think some of that is, like, such a nothing burger. Like, this is what, like, these are the foundational issues we're talking about now. Like, there's so much divisiveness even within the church, and most of it's over stupid things like that. Like, well, this denomination of Protestants don't think you should kiss before marriage, but this one does, and we're not compatible anymore because that's a tier 1 issue. No, it's not. That is a tier like 5 or 6 issue. That is so unimportant in the grand scheme of things. Especially with like we should be more unified as an American church than we are. And we let stupid things like that get in the way. I feel the same way about the race mixing argument. I see that one pop up on Twitter like at least once a month. Like at least once a month someone's going to, and I don't know if it's like for engagement farming or whatnot. I don't know if it's, oh, we need to engagement farm, like, oh, rah. But that's another one that, like, I just think is so stupid. Like, they're like, oh, but the Bible says you're not supposed to mix races. But then it's like, if you actually go back and read, one, that's in the Old Testament, which we're, as new covenant Christians, are not under that law anymore. But even if you were to go back to the Old Testament and look into that, it was more talking about the race mixing was bad because any other race than the Israelites were following pagan gods. And that's what the concern was. It wasn't the color of their skin or their ethnic background. It was their religious background. It was, if you marry a pagan, you are more likely to abandon God and to become a pagan yourself because of that. So God put those rules in place to avoid the Israelites falling into that when they're already prone to that, as seen. Even they weren't even out of Egypt for like, what, maybe a month? And they're like, golden calf. We need a golden calf. Like, so they're already prone to that. So that's why those rules were put in place. It had nothing to do with the ethnic background or the color of their skin. And that doesn't matter now. The biggest thing that should matter in your relationship is whether or not you are a Christian. Like, for the Christian, the biggest thing that should matter to you when looking at a significant other is that person's relationship with Christ. That's it. Because everyone is made in the image of God. Everyone is a brother and sister in Christ. Doesn't matter your ethnic background or the color of your skin or any of that. Which is why I think the race mixing argument is so stupid. And I've gotten it directed at me because, like, I'm not white. Shocking anybody. People, which for the longest time, people on Twitter thought I was, because, like, I didn't use the same profile picture I did now that, like, matches the channel one. It was just like a Deku avatar, and I'd post pictures of myself, and they'd be like, "You're not white." I'm like, I don't know why you would assume that, but okay. But like, I'm really passionate about that because I get that directed at me a lot. Is like, there are Christians who will look me dead in the eye and be like, "You should be celibate and marry no one because you're a genetic pariah, and you shouldn't even exist." Like, and that's just unbiblical for starters. But also just not, like, these are the things the American church argues over because we have nothing better to do, I guess. We can complain on Twitter about whether or not, like, I think whether or not anime is satanic and having that conversation is more productive than should premarital kissing be a sin. Because at least you're, one, engaging with the culture, and two, you're having constructive conversation of, like, what we're doing here, of, like, should you watch this? Should you not list? Like, I don't know. So it's so weird, and you know, it is what it is. Get back to the list. I'll get back to the list when I feel like it. It's my stream. I get to talk about whatever I want. I get to talk about whatever I want, whenever I want. But you're right. We should get back to the list because I was tangenting, and if you're new here, I tangent a lot. Which is how a tier list that should have taken me 45 minutes turns into a 2.5 hour long live stream. Anyway, speaking of, well, no, this is not tangentially related at all. I thought it was, but it's not. Tamon's B-side, this is one from this year. For starters, I was not super impressed by it, although I watched the whole first season. I'm putting it in probably should avoid. Mainly because, and I think the thing that really threw me the whole time I was watching it was the main girl. I don't even remember her name. Oh, but she's voiced in Japanese by the the same voice actress who does like Shinobu and Eeyore and all of them. I don't even remember her name. She like they really dive into idol culture in this show, and like that's cool. I like the idol characters, like the boy band group. I thought they were interesting. But there's a lot of like she refers to him as a god, and like she owns her own like religion of the Church of Tamon, like, and they lean into that a lot, and that kind of off put me a little bit, where I was like, it's all right. And like sometimes, like for me personally, like outside of this tier list, I would have given it like a pass if the plot was a little better. Like just for me personally, I would have been like, that's like, yeah, but that's just like anime shenanigans. It's whatever. Like I know that's not legit. Like I know she's like, I know that's not true. But her worldview surrounding that, I think, puts it in probably should avoid for me. So that's that about that. Okay. Witch Hat Atelier. This is the one that everybody was asking for. And by everybody, I mean like 5 people. Which is, this is better than no people. Witch Hat Atelier, I want to caveat by saying I've only seen the first 6 episodes. But again, it's one of those, I don't see it delineating super far off of where I'm at right now. So I'll just, I'll give it a good go. Why is Witch Hat Goisalop? Can someone fill me in on this? Can someone, I've seen this stuff on Twitter of like, it's sponsored by the UN. The UN thinks it's great. You should watch it. It's on our list of diversity publishers or whatever. Can somebody fill me in on that? Like, give me the whole picture of like what I'm actually looking at, so I understand that better. Because I'm just going based off the show. I'm just going based off the show. I've enjoyed the show. I think the world building is great. The magic system is very well fleshed out. I like the different applications of it. I like Coco as a character. Keyfree is just Magic Gojo, although I think it's actually the other way. Gojo is Sorcerer Keyfree, because I think Witch Hat came first before Jujutsu Kaisen. Agot is the most insufferable character thus far, and I'm eagerly not awaiting the redemption arc that will come around later of like, oh, but she grows on you. Isn't that nice? Like, no, I don't care. She's mean and bad. And I also understand she's a child, but like still. And let's have a conversation about magic, guys. Because every time this stuff comes up, every time I talk about a show that has magic in it, every time I talk about Freerin, every time I talk about Mashal, someone's like, but it's got magic in it. Christian shouldn't watch that because it's witchcraft and wizardry. I'm right there with you. I get it. But again, we have to talk about, like, is Witch Hat encouraging me to go out and draw circles? Is it trying to tell me that this kind of magic is real? Or are we being transported to a different fantasy world that has different rules than ours, and magic is just a power system that they have? I'm thinking it falls in the latter there. So I don't think magic, and I mean, it depends on how it's being used. Like, obviously, Witch Hat sets up a very clear delineation between good magic and bad magic. There are forbidden spells that are forbidden for a reason. There are good spells, and what are you supposed to use those spells for? Well, we're supposed to help people, and we're supposed to protect people. Like, that's what we're supposed to do with our magic, and we're not supposed to do the forbidden spells because that's bad and evil. So I think there's a difference between those two things. So Witch Hat, I'm going to put in okay, but with an asterisk at the very top. For those of you who are sensitive to magic, if you don't want to deal with the magic stuff, that's fine. Even though I think it's a fine use of it, I will put it there, and call it a day. Okay, moving on. Licorice Recoil. For starters, do not believe what Twitter dares tell you. These girls are not lesbians. They are not. I have watched the whole show, and I can see how you would come to that conclusion, but you would be wrong. So let's just put that out there. Licorice Recoil, plot-wise, okay, the girls are not lesbian, but the two guys definitely are gay. So I think that by default puts it in okay, but with an asterisk. But it is like, aside from that, it is actually a really good show because she, like, the main girl doesn't want to, she doesn't want to kill anyone, so she uses like rubber bullets and doesn't kill anyone. And she sticks through that the whole time. And kind of like brings the other girl around on that as well. Like, maybe we shouldn't be killing people, even though that's like what we're contracted to do as assassins. So it was good. I'll put it in okay, but with an asterisk. I don't think it's got anything egregious. The gore actually isn't that bad, as far as I remember. So, Christian Anime Podcast got my friend into Licorice Recoil. Yeah, it's not bad. All right, here's another one that everyone was asking for. Daemons of the Shadow Realm. This is the new show or new series from Hiromu Arakawa, I think is how you say her name. The author of Fullmetal Alchemist. And for starters, brand new anime from the author of Fullmetal Alchemist airing this season, and I've seen no one talk about it. Like, goes under promoted. There's a bigger thing to be said about maybe there's too many anime. I know, I said it. Oh my gosh. Maybe there's too many anime, and that's why it's not getting promoted. Who's to say? But overall, Daemons of the Shadow Realm, I think, I don't want to keep putting stuff in okay, but with an asterisk. But like that's kind of where it goes, though. Like right next to Witch Hat, because I know the lore of the daemons might bother some people, but I really don't think it's that bad if you set it up as like if you view the daemons in the same way you would a Persona or a Stand, right? Like from JoJo's. Like, I don't think it's inherently that bad. Am I insane for saying that? Am I wrong for saying that? I think it should go indefinitely okay, because it is kind of like this great story about these two twins trying to reunite and find each other and figure out what they're doing in life, and it does lean into a lot of the mystical of it all. So, but again, I think if you view the daemons as like stands from JoJo's or Personas from Persona, I think it's fine, and I don't think it's anything. I don't think it's that deep. It's not that deep, pal. It's not that deep. Next up, Cyberpunk Edge Runners. I saw this was another one that someone asked me about. Spawn of Satan, and it's not even close, because it is just like bad. The fan service is off the charts. The gore is insane. The plot is wacky. Honestly, this might ruffle some feathers here. If you want a more Christian appropriate version of Cyberpunk Edge Runners, might I encourage you to watch the Lego Movie, because both center around a protagonist who has something placed on his back that an evil corporation wants for their nefarious plot. He then is broken out of evil bad guy place by a woman named Lucy. Then joins a ragtag group of misfits who are othered and ostracized by the evil bad corporation. And then it ends by them climbing a giant tower and the main character making a sacrifice for the sake of his friends so that no one else has to die. So that's my recommendation there. So the Bible does have gore. That is true. Like, I've read the Book of Judges. So the Bible does have gore, but I think there's a difference between reading about it in the Bible and seeing it put on screen in front of you. Because even even in the Bible, it's not prescriptive. Like, it's not prescribing us to live lives of go cut people up and do excessive gore. That's actually frowned upon in most cases. So that's a descriptive. Like, the book of Judges is descriptive, right? Like, it's describing what happened in that time period. And the gore also, there's a difference between reading it, right? Like I said, and seeing it visually on the screen. And I think seeing it visually on the screen is worse off for you than reading it. Because you're like able to make your own mental picture, but that's based on you. That's like not, this is actually what's happening. So yes, it is just a Lego movie. That is true. I've only watched the first 3 episodes, but the only bad things I saw were smoking and excessive profanity. Yes, the profanity, it was horrendous too. So Cyberpunk Edge Runners goes in Spawn of Satan. That is what it is. Is the Bible horror, like the angel killing the baby of the Egyptians? Okay, so we actually just read through Exodus in my small group, or we're actively reading through it. The last plague in the plagues is, it's an interesting thing, but you have to understand from a biblical perspective, right? Every person on planet Earth, without exception, right, is deserving of death. That, like the Bible talks about, the wages of sin is death. And even though that was in the New Testament, right, the same thing applies to the Old Testament. So for the angels to come through and to kill all of the firstborns, one, that was warned in advance that was going to happen, and that was a direct response to Pharaoh not letting the people go out of Egypt. Secondly, the ones who were spared were the Israelites, because they were given like, oh, put the blood over the doorpost, which is symbolic of, Christ later being the sacrificial lamb that covers our sin. Like, that's the only reason Christians are spared from that, right? Is because of Christ. So it's not like, there's stuff in the Bible that's dark and like gritty like that, but it's not like, I don't know. It's not, I don't think it's that bad. And I don't think we can put that on the same level as like an anime that is very much putting stuff in your face. You know what I mean? And yeah, the Bible does have R-rated stuff in it that the Christian kids shows avoid. Like in the David movie that just came out, in Samuel, David takes the sword and beheads Goliath. But like, you don't want to put that in a PG family movie for theaters. You know what I'm saying? Like, so there is some stuff in there that's like, maybe let's not put that in there because this is a different target demographic. But then like the House of David show on Amazon Prime that is very much not for kids, he just takes the sword and just boom, lops that head right off. So it kind of depends on your audience, and as it should be. Okay, I gotta stop tangenting. Ruby Ice Queendom, Spawn of Satan. Don't even get me started. That's such a dog water show, much like the main show it's based on. Betrothed to My Sister's Ex. Okay, Pierce, if you're still here, you got to back me up on this one. It's going insane, Hood. It's going insane. I'm saying it. I'm saying it. There was nothing bad in there. It's very clean. No fan service. The plot is solid. Overall, very good. Very good. Dude, banger. Absolute banger. If you have not watched Betrothed to My Sister's Ex, I know the title sounds sus. And you're going to say, but Nick, that's a really strange title. Why would you recommend it? You got to just trust me. You got to trust me on this one. It's good. It's good. FNAF was created by a Christian person, can we count that as Christians can make horror games? Yes, Christians can make anything. Like, Christians can make anything, and I think there's such a fascinating interview with Scott Cawthon where he talked about how when he was trying to make Christian games and really like shoehorn it in there, they were critically well received, but like people just didn't really care for them. So then he kind of just, instead of like being a Christian making a Christian game, he just pivoted to being a Christian making a really good game and using the gifts and talents he'd been given to just make something that's really high quality, right? Like, and if you dive into the FNAF lore, there's a lot of like Christian themes and Christian undertones in it that I think is worth looking into. So, what are you? That's not the dangers in my heart. What are you? Oh, Kubo won't let me be invisible. It's all right. It's okay, but with an asterisk. I'm gonna put it down there with Tomotron. I don't have much to say about it. Blue Box. I don't like this show. I really don't. I don't like this show. But objectively speaking, from a Christian standpoint, I think it's okay, but with an asterisk. The only asterisk is they do premarital cohabitation, but like they're roommates. They're not like they're roommates. They're not like they're not sharing a room or anything. They just live in the same house because their parents were friends. And it really doesn't lead to any like shenanigans per se. It's still pretty clean. But I know that's like, so next up is, oh my gosh, what is the name of this one? It's such a long title. I'm married to a girl, what is it called? I'm married to the girl in my class that I hate or something. What? That's got to be close. I think it's I'm getting married. Yeah, I'm getting married to the girl I hate in my class. I was close. TBH. I would rank it a little differently. I'm out of bitrate for Twitch. It doesn't bother me. I'm gonna say it's okay, but with an asterisk, because I know like the house sharing bothers some people, and I think the fan service does get a little egregious, especially with the blonde-haired character. But I do think the plot is really good. I think it has a good story. I think it has, because like they get married at the very beginning, so any of the house shenanigans are passable in air quotes. So, and I do like the relationship, how that grows over time, and how that grows into the end of that season. Would I watch a season 2? Probably, but I'm not like chomping at the bit for it. Bocce the Rock. Dare I say Sainthood? I mean, it wasn't my favorite, but I can't think of anything that would rule it out of at least definitely okay. I think what do we think, chat? I think Bocce's a definitely okay is where I'm going to put it. At least for me personally. It's just very solid. It's just a bunch of anime girls. What's the phrase? Cute anime girls doing cute anime things or something. Just a bunch of girls starting a band. And that's okay. Um, what's my opinion on Yona of the Dawn? I have not seen it. It's on my list though. I've heard it's good. Am I gonna watch Love Unseen Beneath the Clear Night Sky? Is that one that's on my list? I have a list. I have a list that's like, oh, this is. Oh wait, I've seen the trailer for this. Right? Hold on. There's one way to find out. I'm just gonna go to my Twitter bookmarks. Anime to watch. I think I put it on there as like, oh, I'm gonna watch that. Yes, I did. I am gonna try to watch it. Keyword try. I have not found a ton of like shows that are so gripping this year. Yo, is that a real super chat? Is that legit? Hey, yo. Roman Games 2 with the 50 super chat? Thank you. You did not have to do that. I greatly appreciate that. Wow. That's so cool. Thank you. I don't even know what to say. That's incredible. I greatly appreciate you. That is can we get W's in the chat? That was good. That's very good. Thank you. So yeah, I am planning on watching that anime. And maybe I'll try to do more like let me jump on and talk about anime. That I'm watching, and that'll be live stream content. I do want to do a little housekeeping chit chat at the end. But we'll finish the tier list before I do that. So again, shout out to Roman Games 2. I haven't gotten a super chat in so long, and I appreciate that. So 86. I think 86 is 86. I'm gonna say. I'm torn between definitely okay and okay but with an asterisk, because there's a lot of like violence in 86, but I don't think it's like worse than Attack on Titan by any stretch of the imagination. What I don't know. I think I'm gonna put it indefinitely okay, but towards the bottom, because I can't think of anything in there that was like, oh, that was egregious, take that out of and put it with an asterisk. Like it was just good. You know what I mean? Like it was just a good show. Zenshu, my beloved, underrated, snubbed from the Crunchyroll Anime Awards 2026. You're going indefinitely okay. Yeah. Zenshu was good. If you haven't seen Zenshu, please go watch it. It's so incredible. I talked about it in my most recent video about in my most recent video I did of like recommendations. I talked about it there. And I would very highly recommend it. And I don't even really want to say much because I feel like it's such a short series that saying too much, you would end up spoiling things. So I don't want to say too much about it. But it is good. 12 episodes, entirely original. No manga or anything. It is just, a wholly original series. So Nintendo, wait a minute, hold on. Is that who I think it is? Is that? Hold on, chat. Hold on, chat. I'm trusting and verifying. Okay, fine. Be that way. I didn't even want to. Yep. That is who I think it is. Thank you. You're one of my loyal Twitter mutuals. I salute thee. Okay. Ay. All right, here's the big one. This is, dare I say, one of the most controversial ones of the last 2 years in Don da Don. It's going at the top of okay, but with an asterisk. And I will say it for the same reason I said in the 2 videos that I have done on Don da Don. The first episode of both Season 1 and Season 2, both have scenes that I think put people a little bit. And rightfully so, based on the context of what's happening. But even in the full context of the series, I think it, like, you understand what's happening. Of, like, in Season 1, the aliens are trying to probe Momo, right? And that's something that has been documented throughout all. That's the meme. It's like, oh, I got probed by the aliens. Like, oh, like, and the show doesn't try to glorify that. It, like, very much frames it as a bad thing that has happened. Like, these are bad people for doing that. And then, of course, we got that same discourse wrapped up again when Season 2 came out and the guys tried to assault her in the bath. And it's like, okay, but the anime is telling you this is a bad thing that's happening. We are not trying to justify this as, like, but, you know, anime shenanigan. Like, but fan service. Am I right, guys? Like, no. It's very much framed as a bad thing. So, I know it still off-puts some people, and there are people who haven't been able to get into it because of that. And I think that's okay. Like, I'm not telling you to go against your own conviction to watch it. Like, if you see that and you think, oh, that would, I can't touch that with a 10-foot pole, then don't. Like, as for anything on this list, you know, if you watch Betrothed to My Sister's Ex and you're like, premarital hand-holding, that's not for me. Can't do that. Like, don't override that personal conviction just because I said it was sainthood. So, but as for Don da Don, I think outside of those episodes, it's good. Yeah, they're dealing with, like, ghosts and yokai and that kind of stuff. Like, but again, like, it's an alter, like, yeah, it's set in the real world, but it's not the real world. You know what I mean? And I think there's a really good message to be pulled from, like, the reality of spiritual warfare. And, like, all of this stuff is happening in their world, regardless of whether or not you know it's happening. And spiritual warfare is very much the same. All of it is happening regardless of whether or not you are clued in the know or not. So if you want to see more in-depth thoughts about Don da Don, go watch my video. I think, are both of the videos still up? Or did I... Are both of the videos still up, or did I take down the older one because I put out I think I took down the older one. I did. I unlisted the older one because I kind of treaded the same ground. But if you go to the Christian's Guide to Anime, they're both in there. So, I mean, yeah, yokai are not Christian demons. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying the overall principle of spiritual warfare is still present. Like, in the same way that, like, the yokai exist in the Don da Don universe, regardless of whether or not you're, like, the main group who's aware or a random Joe Schmo on the street who is unaware, they still exist. And that's the comparison I'm making, is, like, in the Christian sphere, right? Demons still exist, regardless of whether or not you're a Christian who believes that spiritual warfare exists, or a non-Christian who thinks it's all just wacky coincidences. Like, it all still plays in. That's all I'm saying. All right, Zom 100 bucket list of the dead. I'm going to say probably should avoid. I think there's a couple things in there that may not be beneficial for your viewing experience. So even though I thought it was an all right show, I think there's some things in there that are probably not the best for your watching. Your pastor's wife called anime evil in her podcast. You should send me that podcast so I can listen to it. Because there's always like, sometimes people, I know we like to demonize, or maybe not demonize is the right word, but like villainize people who come against anime, and they say, well, anime is evil, right? Like, you think of your Matt Walsh's, I don't even remember what that lady's name is with the conservative, who the other one in the thumbnail of Podcast On's video. I've seen her video. I don't remember her name, but like they come against anime and they're like, well, all anime is satanic and evil and you shouldn't watch it. And it's very easy to villainize those people and like make fun of them for that. But I don't want to lump everyone into that, because maybe, you say she called anime evil, maybe there's more context to that. Because maybe she was making a better faith argument of like, well, here's a list of specific ones that are evil. It was like the people who try to link like transgenderism to watching anime, which is such a loose connection. It's like, not all anime fans are transgenders, but most transgenders are anime fans. So that means that anime makes people trans. And I'm like, I don't think that's a good faith argument there. I think you're missing a different underlying factor there. So, oh yay, the woman of the hour, Haruhi Suzumiya. Do I dare even argue Spawn of Satan just for the memes? Dare I say it? Dare I put Persona 5? Not Persona 5, sorry. I saw the chat and I got distracted. Haruhi Suzumiya. I'm going to be a little biased on this one. I'm just going to say probably should avoid. Like, it's just, you're not going to get anything out of it. I really don't think you're going to get anything out of it. I don't even know. I don't even remember enough about my watching experience because I was so miserable to rank it anywhere else other than probably should avoid. Like, I'm leaving it there. End of story. Fragrant Flower, Blooms with Dignity, chat. We got another sainthood romance. Very clean. Very wholesome. Actually, really solid plot. I love the side characters. I think they're great. And it is definitely one that is worth watching. And I think you should. Especially if you want to watch romance. That is a solid... that is one I will recommend. Fragrant Flower with my whole heart. I will put my whole chest out there to recommend that show. The Shiunji Family Children, the other series from hit author of Rent a Girlfriend. See, it hits you with the logic bender of, well, they're not all related by blood. They're just step siblings, which is technically legal, which is true. That doesn't make it okay, though. That doesn't make it not weird, which is so crazy because they introduce a external female for the guy to be attracted to, who's not one of his sisters, who's not in the family, and he just, so much like its Rent a Girlfriend predecessor, it will be going in Spawn of Satan. That said, just as a sidebar, like off the record, I watched all of it, all of the first season, and I don't think it's as egregiously bad as Rent a Girlfriend, mainly because the plot actually moves forward and there's some semblance of development in the way we're going. And it tries to do a quintessential quintuplets-esque twist of like, well, two of the siblings are actually blood related. We know one pair of them are, but there's another pair who's actually blood related, but we don't know who it is. So, like, it tries to set some stuff up like that, and how effectively it does that, I don't know. So, like, it's better than Rent a Girlfriend, but that's like saying, you know, my one garbage can that's painted blue actually smells a lot worse than my garbage can that's painted green. They're both garbage cans. It's just one smells better, and that's not indicative of anything that's inside of it. Sentenced to be a Hero. This is another one that aired this year. I think I'm going to put it at the top of okay, but with an asterisk, because I think some of the gore is a little excessive, even though most of it is like fantasy blood. It's not like people. But then there are some stuff with like the knights and stuff that I think is like, ooh. Like, it doesn't bother me. I was like, oh, cool. We're actually getting like an uncensored, like, kind of brutal anime. It was rated like M. Nah, that's the video game rating. But like, it was rated mature, you know, like 17 plus or 18 plus or something like that. Whatever the TV rating is. So it was good. I think there's a really interesting plot about the penal hero system and how that's set up, and I think it's definitely worth watching if the gore doesn't bother you. The dub was pretty good, which is what I watched. So it was enjoyable. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and it was my top show of the year until I finished Mall Shadow Lord, and then it got bumped down to number 2. Wisteria Wand and Sword, I'm going to put at the top of definitely okay. Low-key, one of the most underrated fantasy. Remember when I was telling you guys that Goblin Slayer has a good world that has a good fantasy, but there's better fantasy anime out there for you? This is one of those better fantasy anime. Wisteria Wand and Sword is very good. I love the protagonist, Will. He is just a good guy. He's a very good guy all around, and I like him for that. The only thing I will caution you on, and I don't think it's enough to put it in okay, but with an asterisk, is Will's roommate it's definitely implied that he's into him. Like, the roommate is into Will, not the other way around. Will is very much dead set on his childhood best friend, and that's clearly set up as his romantic interest. And then there's the side, this like the B plot romance interest with Colette, and like that's how he's set up. But the roommate is definitely like a little, you know, swings the other way, if you catch my drift. But I don't. It's brought up in one episode, and at least in the first season. I haven't seen the second season yet, but I've heard it's really good. At least with the way the roommate swings in the one episode, but it's kind of like a one and done type thing, and they move on, and they kind of frame most of it as a joke. So I don't think it's enough to warrant putting it in okay, but with an asterisk. If it was a more focal point of the series, then I would be like, oh yeah, you know, maybe you should watch out. But it's such a like minuscule part of it that I don't think it's worth it. Just arrived. What series are we talking about? I just finished Wisteria Wand and Sword. Are we on the last row? No, I got 3 more, and then it's one more row. Sakamoto Days. This is another one I actually did a whole video on. And I'm trying to remember where I landed with it. I think I'm going to put Sakamoto in okay, but with an asterisk on the low. I'm going to put it lower than Dawn to Dawn. I think the Christian themes are there. I don't remember what they are off the top of my head. If you want to see that, go watch my video. Not that I know I keep plugging my videos, but it's like, if you really want a deep dive on how I feel, go watch the video. So speaking of another video, that I have done. Buddy Daddies, which was my first long form video I ever did on this channel. For starters, these men are not gay. Let's put that out there. Much like Licorice Recoil, I can see how you would come to that conclusion, but you would be wrong. Buddy Daddies is low-key kind of wholesome. I went into it thinking it was just the gay, like, spin-off of Spy Family. Of like, this is the one for the yaoi fans out there. Gosh. But then one of my friends was like, no, you should watch it. Like, it's really good. It doesn't have any of that in there. Like, you should just watch it. And I was like, okay, fine. So I watched it, got to the end of it, and I was like, those guys are not gay. Like, again, I can see how you could come to that conclusion, but you would be wrong. Because here's the thing. I can see how you would jump to that conclusion, but you have to jump through like 4 or 5 different mental hurdles to get there. And misread the context and misconstrue what the series is trying to set up and tell you based on these two guys and what they believe. And I even said in my video, like, yeah, she says she has 2 dads, but she's not referring it to that of like, oh, my dads are gay and they're like in love with each other. It's like, well, no, I just have 2 dads. In the same way that like, I know people who say like, oh, well, like she's like my mom and she's like my mom. Like, she's not implying that those 2 women are together, but they're just like, oh, this person is like a mother to me and this other person is also like a mother to me. So Buddy Daddies, I think I'm going to put at the bottom of definitely okay. It's not gay. Don't worry about it. I hate to drop out everybody's dreams during Pride Month for that one. But it's okay, guys. It's still a good show, and I actually can recommend it. Next up is Vivi Floret's Eyes song. This one's kind of underrated. I watched this one 2 years ago. Yes. And it talks a lot about like finding purpose, finding meaning. I was supposed to do a whole video on it, and then I didn't. Just because I can't remember a ton, I'm going to put it in like middle of okay, but with an asterisk. Because the premise is this AI, like humanoid, she's a musician, but she wants to write her own song and find her own song. And she's trying to find purpose, trying to find meaning and all of that. And she does by the end, and I won't spoil what that is. But it also, like, even though she's an AI, I think you could apply it to like the human experience of like, well, what is meaning? Like, what is love? What is the meaning behind life? Like, what is all of that? So I think it's good. But just because I can't remember enough about it, I'm leaving it in asterisk. Are we rating them based off how Christian they are, how good they are? How Christian they are, just like the last tier list I did. What's up, Doge Guy? Where's One Piece? On the last one. This is part 2, and these are all shows that were not featured in part 1. One Piece is in the last one. But I think I put One Piece in okay, but with an asterisk. I think. That feels right. So You and I Are Polar Opposites is another banger from this year that I thought the romance was really good. Shockingly enough, I actually really liked the romance with the what? I don't remember their names, but it's the like blonde-haired guy, or like the tan-haired guy and the black-haired girl that are not the main couple. I really liked them. I really liked them in the show, and I think there's a lot to look at, and I think I'll put it at the bottom of definitely okay, at least for the first half that's out currently. The first 12 episodes I thought were definitely okay. There was nothing in there that jumped out to me as like, ooh, that's really bad. Because the fan service isn't really there. It's another pretty clean one. One Piece would be docked for things like Bon Clay and Ivankov, I guess. I feel like, and maybe this is a hot take, I feel like the way Oda handles those characters isn't as egregious as people think. At least when I was watching it, like, yeah, Ivankov has a ton of like pirate, like he's a bad dude, right? Like, or I guess he's not a bad guy. Like he's framed as a hero alongside Luffy, right? But you also have to think of the broader context of like they're all pirates, and also like Ivankov forcibly transitions people. So like it's one of those like, what did Oda mean by this? Like how Sanji spends 2 years on that island running away from the transgenders, right? And he like levels up immensely. And it's like, what did Oda mean by this? So and to Doge Guy's point, they're such a small part of One Piece overall. It's interesting. Also, I haven't gotten to Wano yet, so I haven't gotten to Yamato. How do you say her name? Like, it does kind of push it with Yamato, but I feel like most of that is from the fan base side of it, not Oda, because I've seen so many different things where Oda's like, nah, Yamato's a woman. Let's just put that out there. She may think she's a guy, but she's a woman. So I don't have the full context yet, because I haven't gotten to Wano. But I can't wait to have an opinion, because I feel like it's not going to be a popular one. So Delicious in Dungeon, I think, is definitely okay. It's really just a D&D anime about food. So if you like food, you'll like Delicious in Dungeon. Promare. Oh gosh, it's been so long since I've seen Promare. I think I'm gonna put Promare in okay, but with an asterisk. I'm sure there's something in there that is like, but otherwise it's a pretty good movie. It's pretty decent. I would recommend it. So people ship the 2 female leads. Oh, of Delicious in Dungeon, yeah. That's the problem. Is like the author. I remember seeing an article where like the author of Delicious in Dungeon had an interview with one of the anime sites, and the anime site was like, "So, Laos is autistic. How do you feel about that?" And the author was like, "He's really not. Like, he's not. He's not." And they were like, "Yeah, but like." But he's a really good stand-in for like autistic people, like really trying to push this Laos is autistic narrative. And the author was like, that was not the intention that came across when I was writing that. So I don't know where you got that from. And I think the author had a similar conversation about like Fallon and Marcel, of like, they're just really good friends. Like, they just love hanging out. They're good friends. Obviously, they have a Laos. Laos is a like obviously a mutual friend because he's Fallon's brother. So I love it when authors clap back on that stuff, and I hate to see stuff like the Gachiakura author or the mangaka being like harassed off of Twitter because she refused to talk about like, well, what sexuality is this character? When is this character gonna make out with that character? Blah 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 blah. Like I hate to see that kind of stuff, because like the Western ideology that has plagued the anime fandom, that is not representative of all Western anime fans, by the way. Like, I just want to put that out there. If anyone from Japan happens to stumble across this, like, that is not representative of all of us. A good majority of us are pretty normal. That's just a vocal minority. So, Princess Mononoke, I'm going to put indefinitely okay. I feel like pretty much any Studio Ghibli movie can be put indefinitely okay. They're pretty safe recommendations overall. So I'll put that there. Sword Art Online Progressive Aria of a Starless Night is, I'm going to say, definitely okay, because it's a much better rendition of Sword Art Online, and does not have all the fan service or the weird, like, psychosexual stuff that the main series has, and actually focuses on the game Sword Art Online. The whole first movie is about them getting through the first floor, and that first, like, iconic, I don't want to put air quotes because it's iconic, raid that they did to clear the first level. And then the following movie, Scarezo of Deep Night, I would also put in definitely okay, although I will, there's one scene where Asuna and another girl are, like, at the pool, but they're fighting. But I don't think the fan service is that bad. I think it's, I'm just warning you that there is a pool scene, but I don't remember it being egregiously bad. Those two Sword Art Onlines I can wholeheartedly recommend, and I did say as much in my last one, but I went ahead and put them on here this time. Alia, blah, 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 Russian, Spawn of Satan. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. My biggest gripe with this, one, there's a whole... Spawn of Satan, here's the condemning episode. There's one whole episode, I think, where the guy has all the girls hypnotized. I think it's the main guy has them all. Or maybe it's like the older sister has all of the other girls hypnotized. And they do like a striptease type thing where they're like, by the end and they wake up, they're all like in their underwear and bras type stuff. That's the condemning episode in and of itself. End of story. But I don't think that happened. I very much remember that happening. I might be wrong. I'm going to double check. I very much remember that happening, though. I very much remember that happening because I remember being so off-put by that episode. Yeah, episode 9, rom-commy with a chance of hypnosis. Let me check my rating because I would have mentioned that in my review of that episode. That I was like, oh, that's actually, like, bad. Maybe it doesn't get that far. What did I write in my review? Because I think I would have written something about it. Maybe I didn't write a review of this one on Serialized. But I remember rating this episode really low because of that. Because it was like kind of obnoxious. It's even if they don't make it that far, like even if I'm exaggerating and they don't make it that far, it's still a condemning episode because they still do some form of like, oh, you're hypnotized. Now you're going to take your shirt off. Still condemning. Still. Also, the sister's definitely into the brother, so you got the incest undertones there. Also, that's 2 for 2. But the real nail in the coffin and the real thing that, like, I hate this show was the appropriation of streamer culture in the dub. Because in the dub, she gets, like, the little sister gets, she loses the debate for student council president. And she walks off stage and she's talking to her associate. She's like, chat, we got cooked. No. No. You're not a streamer. You're not. No. The only people who can say chat unironically in any social situation is people who stream. Like, legitimately. No. You don't get that one. You don't get that one. So, Spawn of Satan, end of story. Belle, the movie, I think would be definitely okay. I can't remember anything egregious happening in that. So I think that one's all right. I'll give it a pass. Jujutsu Kaisen 0. All right. Jujutsu Kaisen 0 is the only part of Jujutsu Kaisen that I actually like, and I think is worth watching because it actually has a consistent plot, consistent narrative, and any kind of through line. That said, it's gonna go closer to the top of okay, but with an asterisk, because I still, actually, you know what? No, I'm gonna put it like upper, definitely okay. I think Jujutsu Kaisen 0 is fine. Like, there's no fan service that's bad. There's no like JJK 0 is actually pretty decent, and it makes me wish that the whole freaking show was like that. It makes me wish and yearn for a time when the entire series is like that. But it doesn't exist. Castle in the Sky, that's a Studio Ghibli, so I'll give it another definitely okay. And then Mission Yozakura Family, I recommended this one once, and someone was like, but you didn't tell me that there was a girl who's obsessed with the other girl. And I'm like, I didn't think it was relevant because it was mainly played up as a joke. Mission Yozakura Family, first season, I'm gonna say okay, but with an asterisk. I think the brother does the older brother does some questionable stuff. It's all right. Makeine losing heroines, I think, is probably bottom of definitely okay. I can't think of any like fan servicey stuff that's bad. And it's actually a pretty clean romance outside of that. Pseudo Harem, I'm putting towards the top of definitely okay. That one also doesn't lean into any weird like fan servicey stuff, and it's actually pretty wholesome and has a really good ending in 12 episodes. Pretty solid romance that I would highly recommend. And then last but not least is Tatsuki Fujimoto's Look Back, author of Chainsaw Man, for those who are unaware. I think this one, I did a whole video on this one and talking about like the pressure to be creative and the struggle of the creative experience and what that looks like. I'm going to give it a definitely okay. I think that there was nothing in it that I was like, oh, that's egregious, you shouldn't watch that. So yeah, that is everything on the tier list right there. I think we had a lot more definitely okays this time than last time. And definitely more. Do we have more Spawn of Satans than let me look. Last time we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 in Spawn of Satan and 12 in Probably Should Avoid. No, we actually had less. But granted, we also had like 40 less anime than 40 less anime than the last tier list, so that's probably why. So that's the end of the tier list. Overall, pretty good spread. I don't know. Here's the thing. I don't know if I'll ever be able to do a part 3, at least not for a while, because of the pre-established rule of like I need to have watched these shows. And I did a lot of filtering on like, oh, well, I don't have a ton to say about that, or that's a definite no. What I might do in the future, and you guys can let me know what you think about this in chat. What I might do in the future is oh, thank you, Gachi Yakata. So true. Let me work on that real quick, and then I will I'll get that put in there. What I do want to do for all of my romance enjoyers is do a tier list that is just of romance anime, because I've seen enough romance that I could do an entire tier list on just romance and rank them that way as well. I don't think I'll do that one anytime soon. I think we're still a little ways off on that one, just because I'm about to do a tier list all about like my romance anime ranking next week. and I don't want to like be too close to that. But I do think that's something I will pursue in the future. Why is it taking so long to upload this? Thank you, Canva, if you want to work with me. Okay, bear with me. My computer might freeze. You better not, though. Don't do it. It shouldn't. I don't work off the hard drive anymore. That was causing the problem. You're going to be 61. All right. And then I'm going to open that. Open that. Open that. Where's the folder I'm looking for? Why can I not find it? Oh, because Finder's being stupid. That's why. There it is. Okay. So now we're going to go down here. And I think I can just drop it right there. Yeah, there we go. I got it. We're good. All right, Canva, get out of here. I don't need you. I don't need you anymore. So manga edition, true. That's not a bad idea. Manga edition is not a bad idea, actually. I haven't read a ton of manga, and I think you would run into, because there are a lot of manga I've read that are overlaps, like Mashle, Kaiju, My Hero, Demon Slayer, Oshinoko. So those are overlaps, but I might have different feelings about the manga because you could look at a whole picture there. So Gachi Yakura, I've watched the first 12 episodes. I'll say okay, but with an asterisk, because I think they definitely, I think the only thing I could say against it is they swear a lot. And I think that's it. Why is Edge Runners and Spawn of Satan? I mean, yeah, it's a little edgy, and that's just me. But I also think it, I don't know, it's cyberpunk. Like, the game is not super great either. So have I seen Vinland Saga, Berserk, or Vagabond? No. I have not read Berserk because I already know, just based on knowing what I do and don't like, I don't think I would like Berserk. I've seen like the first chapter. So it's like, I just don't think I would like it, even though I know it's iconic. I know it's supposed to be really good, and I believe it's really good, but I just don't think it's for me, and I don't think I'd like it. Vinland Saga is one that I need to watch. It is one that I absolutely need to watch. So it's on my list. I will get to it. So for shows you haven't seen, are we helping you rank them? No, because there are no shows I haven't seen. And I'll briefly summarize what I said at the beginning of the stream. I didn't want to put any shows on here that I hadn't seen because I felt like it was hard for me to make a recommendation. And it's not that I don't trust chat, but I feel like it's hard for me to put a like recommendation out there if I haven't seen it. Like, it would be hard for me to justify doing that and feel good about doing it. Obviously, if it's a show I've seen and I'm like, guys, I can't remember, what's the fan service like on this one? That's a little different than like, well, I haven't seen Naruto, but where should I put it? So that was just something I thought of. So I know it's not an anime, but you should add Invincible. You know, I could do a non-anime tier list. I mean, there's a lot of animated shows out there. I think of like Gravity Falls, The Dragon Prince, Miraculous, Invincible, The Clone Wars, Star Wars Rebels. Like, it's an option. So I got options. Don't worry, guys. I have no, I have no shortage of, I have no shortage of tier list ideas. Trust me. Um, One I definitely want to do in the future is ranking every game I've played. Because I think I've played like over 100 video games. So, um, so I wanna I wanna do that. Romance anime is next. Um, what are the other ones I had planned out? I want to go back and re-rank every anime I've ever seen because I've it's been 2 years and I've seen a ton more anime since then. So I want to update that ranking, but I think I'm going to tie that to some channel milestones. Christian video games, that is another one I'm thinking of, is like this style tier list, but for video games. Because I know gaming is an area that Christians also struggle with. Um, of like navigating what should I play, what shouldn't I play. Um, Fair warning: any tier list I do regarding video games is going to be very, very, very heavily Nintendo because that's really all I've played. So just as long as we're honest with that at the front, I think we'll be good. Have I seen Mob Psycho 100? No, it's on my list. I need it. Like I've said before, my goal this year is to get caught up on One Piece because I want to get caught up on One Piece. That's another stream is ranking every One Piece arc, but I have to be caught up for that. So now I have a couple other things. I'm listening to the C.S. Lewis Space Trilogy right now, so I need to finish that. And then once I finish that, I can go back to binging One Piece, which I think I would do. Because I spent this week getting caught up with Witch Hat and Demons of the Shadow Realm, specifically for this stream. And now that I'm not doing that, I can go back and and watch more One Piece. So it's on to Dressrosa for me. And that's the crazy thing about One Piece is like I'm so close to the end. Hey, excuse you. Go back to my lo-fi beats. Excuse me. I want you to go back to what I was listening to before. Not that. How long have we not been on? Hold on. How long have we not been on that? Oh well. Hopefully none of that was copyrighted. Oh well. It's getting cut. It's gonna get cut out of the. It's getting cut out of the highlight anyway, so it's irrelevant because I'm gonna replace the music, as I always do. Dressrosa is not that close. I mean, here's the thing. Actually, before I answer that, let me do an outro for the tier list, and then we'll just have some general, chatting time before I go, because I do have some content stuff I want to talk about. So yeah, that's it for the tier list. Very much different than the last one. I think we had a little more even spread, I feel like, and not as many in Sainthood, because I think we were a little more honest with what should have been in a little more honest with what was happening with the Sainthood and stuff. So if you're watching the highlight, thank you for watching. You can check out the full VOD because I'm sure there are some that got cut out and did not make the cut for the highlight. But if you're new here, feel free to subscribe, like, comment, do all of that. I want to do more content like this. I like leaning into the Christian side of it all and just figuring all that out. So until the next one, peace out. Okay, just kidding. We're not done. 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 That was just me. That was just wrapping the tier list part of it because I needed that in there. I needed that in there for the highlight. Lawsuit incoming for a small creator with 6K subs. Yeah, that's real. Yes, to answer, who said it? Dressrosa is not that close. I mean, you're right. And that's the crazy part is like, when I look at the list of seasons on Crunchyroll, because, One Piece Season 2 just started in April. Season 1 was 25 years and over 1,000 episodes long. When you look at the seasons on Crunchyroll, it's like Dressrosa, Whole Cake Island, Wano, Egghead, Elbaf. Or Zhao is in there somewhere, I think, between Dressrosa and Whole Cake, or I don't know. But it's like there's only like 6 seasons left. But Dressrosa is like 126 episodes. Whole Cake is like 70. Wano is 200. So it's like I'm close. I'm over the halfway point. Barely. But it's like I'm close, but I'm like, dude, we're so close, but yet so far. I've heard so many mixed things about Dressrosa. So many people are like, the pacing is awful and it makes me want to die. And then other people are like, oh my gosh, Dressrosa is my favorite arc. It's so good. So I don't know. We'll see how I feel about it. There's a very strong chance it does also become background noise for me, just so I can get through it in a reasonable amount of time. So in terms of content, I talked about this on my on the community tab post I did this week of like the big project I was working on, which channel members will know what I'm talking about. The big project I was talking about doing this year, I think, has just kind of been indefinitely delayed because I didn't have the time to put into that project as much as I wanted to make it as good as I wanted it. So, all right, I'm starting to tell my vocal limit is 2.5 hours, because I'm really getting up there. So I didn't have the time to put into it, and I have a different project I'm working on, and I was like trying to balance like putting time into those two things, and one of them is not even like video related at all. It's something completely different that I will tell you guys about when I can, because I don't want to announce it too early, which is also why I hadn't really said anything definitive about this other like video project I was working on for the channel, because of a situation like this where I'm like, oh, but it's actually getting delayed to next year. So it's one of those things I really want to take my time with it, and I don't want to rush and do it poorly. I really want it to be something that I'm doing well with excellence, so I want to give myself the time to do so. That said, I am going to go back to making long form videos, and like I said in the community tab post, I don't really have anything like definitive in terms of timeline. It'll just happen when it happens, it'll happen when it comes out. Like, it comes out when it comes out. Members might get it like 2 or 3 days early, but it'll come out when it comes out. I think the Uraraka video is the first one I'm going to kind of start chipping away at, and then we'll go from there. So, and I've thrown around the idea of like recording videos live, so you guys can watch me record a video, which I think will be interesting. So you can kind of see the ins and outs of what I go through, and then edit the video. Yeah, I think the Uraraka one is the first one I'm gonna go after, and then I've got some other ones that I'm like, oh, I might toy around with that idea and see if the script goes anywhere. I might start doing some impromptu, like unscripted, I watched this anime, here's my thoughts, and it's like a 5 or 6 minute video that's just like, hey, I watched this summer anime, here's what I think. So just kind of like being casual, but also talking about the things I like talking about. Like I trying to go back to the foundation of the channel, where like I was talking about Kaiju number 8, I was talking about Windbreaker, Mushoku Tensei, like, whereas now I feel like I don't really talk about anything. And I'm like, you do a tier list, which the tier lists are fun. I love doing tier lists. I think they're incredibly fun. But at the same time, like I want to make content that matters in a way, I guess. So I'm looking at my board. There is one video that is scripted and done in terms of like scripting. It definitely needs like a second or third pass through, but the script is pretty much finished. And I'm going to keep that one a little closer to my chest for now because of when it needs to come out. Excuse me. But I have some other stuff that I'm like, oh, I've been, putting that on the back burner for so long. And like, there's a video I want to do that is, ranking every Makoto Shinkai movie and like talking about that. So like, maybe that's one I look into and pursue this year, because I have all of his movies on DVD. Even Voices of a Distant Star, which is super rare, and I had to pay like $40 to get the DVD for that one. But we love physical media here. So, and I thought about doing a video on like why collecting physical media is important, which I know isn't intrinsically anime related. But you can package it like with title and thumbnail and type stuff, that makes it related. And that gives me an out to talk about like, well, let's, what's the effect of game key cards on physical media? And we're looking at, the Xbox CEO just talked about, you're going to rent your next console because everything's so expensive. So you don't even own the console that you play the games on that you don't own because they're all digital. Like, so it, like that kind of stuff I want to talk about and get like out of the anime niche, even though I do love talking about anime. And it's hard because I just haven't been watching a ton of new shows. So it's like, oh, what am I going to talk about? Like this niche show from 2008 that I watched. Like, so there have been a couple I've thought about doing. Like, what was the one? I watched Trigun. Like that would be a video I would go after. That would require me to watch Trigun. So I don't know. It's stuff like that where I'm like, maybe I'll just pursue shorter videos and see what happens and yap about things that I yap about. So that's pretty much that about that. I saw your question asking about whether or not I was watching One Piece. I'm not. I'm watching it on Crunchyroll. It is what it is. So the pacing is bad, but I'm like, I would rather do that than, I don't mind it. I just turn it on in the background while I'm at work. Like, it just plays in the background as background noise. And then I catch the integral plot points when they show up. So, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I don't know what videos look like, honestly speaking. I think content plans are very much up in the air, and streams are going to be a good way to break that. And the highlights have been doing pretty good. They're doing better than I thought they were going to do. I just have to be a little more selective about what gets highlighted and what doesn't. And obviously, like the tier list highlights, I'm going to put a little more effort into than some of like just the discussion ones, because I want them to do better. Because I kind of treat them like a video. Like, yeah, we're doing it live, but this was basically recording a video, which is fine. So that's it's definitely, we'll see what happens. I like making content, but I'm also in like a weird phase where I'm like, what do I actually want to do? So we'll see what happens. I have a couple. Let me scroll through my video ideas chart real quick and just see what's sticking out to me. You know what I'm saying? I am going to bring YouTube Shorts back to the main channel, but like I said, only like new stuff, and that's really just to get the gosh, what am I thinking of? The romance anime shorts out. Yeah, I've got some good ideas here. How TV shows changed my life. Media literacy is at an all-time low. The Uraraka video. I watched every Makoto Shinkai movie. Top 5 romance anime Christians should watch. Christians need to make better content. Like, I've got some good ideas that I could go through. I think it's just looking into, and it's just going into and actually like brainstorming out ideas and seeing what actually works and what would make for a good video that isn't just me doing filler for 7 minutes and calling it a day. So I might want to switch now because Dressrosa gets real bad. Hey, I'm sure Wano is going to be worse. I'm not adverse to it. So I think that's where I shall end for today. I need to go get some tea for my throat because I can feel it acting up, which is fair because I've been talking for 2 hours and 40 minutes. So live stream next weekend, hopefully, pending nothing changes in my schedule. As for everything else, thank you everybody for being here. Shout out to the $50 super chat. I greatly appreciate you. If you're still watching, if you're still here, that actually means a lot because that covers my restream for 3 months. So I greatly appreciate that. And yeah, stay tuned. Good stuff coming. I just got to figure out when and where and how and why. As usual. So that being said, I'll see you guys on the flippity flip. But until then, peace out.